everyone. So, for this week's discussion, we were encouraged to respond to two prompts. The first prompt involved Watson's treatment of thinking, criticisms of his approach, and how Watson viewed human behavior in general, and whether we thought that this was limiting to the advancement of the field of psychology or not. The second prompt involved B.F. Skinner and his philosophy behind punishment, specifically if we believed he was right or wrong on the issue, and if we believe Skinner's idea of this kind of utopian society where children don't need punishment because of their reinforced environment, whether we believe that was possible. I feel like this week our discussion was pretty evenly divided on which prompts were discussed. For the sake of time, I'm going to focus on which posts stood out to me the most and just kind of my takeaways from those. So one peer elaborated on Skinner, and in her elaboration and her beliefs surrounding punishment, she mentioned the idea of natural punishment, and her example involved a scenario in which a child refuses to put a coat on when it's cold outside. The natural punishment for the child's refusal in this example is going outside and being cold, learning that they should probably put a coat on next time so they avoid being uncomfortable and cold. And in this example, I would agree with my peer that natural punishment may serve sometimes as a better learning experience than strictly just reinforcement, as Skinner argued, just kind of depending on the context, though. And as this peer mentioned, punishment can be interpreted as a bit of a gray area because it can mean something different to different parents. It can be interpreted differently across different cultures, and it can mean something in different contexts. And then another peer discussed Watson's treatment of thinking. This peer stated Watson focused his treatment of thinking around behavior, more specifically the stimulus response. And I like that this peer tied in the lecture example of The Office, and she said that she believes Watson's approach ignores mental processes and how these influence behavior, which I found interesting. Because, like, in her example, Dwight is taking mints from Jim just almost subconsciously, and then Jim asks Dwight, "What are you doing?" And he says, "I don't know." And so I really liked how she tied that into her argument for there. And then she also states that while Watson greatly influenced the advancement of our fields, if we had limited our view to a strictly Watson-inspired approach, advancements among fields like cognitive psychology would not have been made as we see the field of cognitive psychology today, which I thought was a really great point as well. So,